Today we're talking about why the INFJ gets overwhelmed by people so easily. And the first thing you might read online is that the INFJ is just an empath, that is just the way we are, right? We go through life, we're very empathetic, we absorb other people's emotions, we're very sensitive, and so of course, when a lot of people are around us, we get overwhelmed. And on top of that, we're introverts, meaning we get our energy from solitude and we lose our energy from being around people. But the thing is this doesn't answer it all, because it's not just about being overwhelmed with a lot of people. I'm not talking about you being a public speaker and speaking on a stage in front of thousands of people and that might overwhelm you. That is going to overwhelm me as well. But very often we get overwhelmed just with certain conversations. We get overwhelmed with being with one person or two. Like sometimes just having two friends that don't know each other and we all come together, that in itself overwhelms us. And the whole problem with this is that we still want it somehow. Like there is this feeling of, oh, I should go to this family gathering or I should be with those friends. So we're going to ask two questions today and answer them. The first one being, is it really my responsibility to learn how to be okay with having more people around me? Right? Can I just learn to be okay with being by myself and accepting that? As in, that's not what society wants, but that's who I am. And second of all, to ask ourselves, am I actually doing everything in my power to be as comfortable in these situations as I possibly can? So we're going to get into this in detail. But before we get started, remember, if you haven't done this so far, to get the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you want to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ Epic Life audio guide. All the information you find in the links in the description. So as I said, this is a twofold topic. The first one being, how can we be okay with us deciding what is a good amount of people to have around? What is an amount that we feel comfortable with? And this is something that we can actually practice. So you go to a gathering, it might be a little, birthday party. It might be that you meet 2 or 3 friends of yours and everybody stays for 3 hours. The first thing we have to recognize is that we get to this place where we say, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I'm going to make sure that I recognize when this moment comes. And this is something that you can really practice. So next time when you have a gathering with friends in any kind of way, make this a point. Go in there with this thought of, I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to check in after 10 minutes. I'm going to check in after 30 minutes, after an hour maybe. And I'm going to say to myself, do I still feel comfortable? Do I want to be here? And when you get to this point where it's like, no, I don't want to be here anymore, that you challenge yourself to say, I'm leaving. And for so many INFJs, this is difficult because others might be disappointed. Others might say, oh, that person doesn't want to hang out, or that person is boring, or whatever it may be. So what does that lead to? Well, most of the time it leads to INFJs actually abandoning so many friendships, because there's always this price to pay of, okay, if I meet them, then I have to endure this entire ordeal. I have to stay those 4 hours like everybody else, and I'm not going to like it. Right? And because I don't want this, what am I going to do? I'm not even going to meet up with them. I'm not going to, encourage meeting again. I'm not going to be the one who will push this forward. And I'm slowly just going to exit out of these kind of social interactions. But the problem with this is we're not really filling up the threshold that we need in social interactions. We still need something. We might need as much as others, but there's still something that we need. We are human after all. And it's on us to find that perfect balance of, this is how much I need, this is what I'm going to go for, and this is what I'm going to just demand. And then people can decide, does this work for me or doesn't it? So when it comes to this first part of our question of, do we feel okay with stating how much we actually need, then this is a great place to start practicing. Because if you felt that it's your total right to meet up with your friends and after 30 minutes say, I'm out, you would still go there. You would just say that and then go home. But if you go to these places and you either stay the 4 hours and feel miserable, or you even get to this place where you say, because I don't want to feel miserable, I'm not going to go at all, you're still playing from this dynamic of, I need others to understand me. This is this one thing that I always tell myself and I always tell my clients, it's never about making the other person understand where you're coming from. That should never be your first concern. Actually, if you can, have it as a goal to say what other people think of me is none of my business, right? So it's not about telling yourself, oh, they're going to like me, although I leave after 30 minutes. It's more about saying, I'm going to be okay if they don't, because I need this. I need to meet with people for 30 minutes to get like my kick, to get my threshold like build up, to feel connected. But then if that's it, I'm just leaving. And so this actually connects us to the second part, which is, are we really doing everything in our power to make it as comfortable for us as we possibly can? We do have the right to do it. Like, we've established that. That's just you as a human being. Because you might say, okay, do I really have the right? I mean, other people are making the time for me and then I just like abandon them. I leave after 30 minutes. Yeah, you are, because you're not expecting them to stay for, let's say, 24 hours or 48 hours because, somebody might need that. They need their 4 hours. Great. You need your 30 minutes. What's it going to be? And if you say after like that time, I'm just not comfortable and I'm leaving, you're still giving people the option. They can still decide, sorry, 30 minutes is not enough for me, so from now on, I'm not going to be your friend. I have not made this experience, and with most INFJs that I've worked with, this hasn't been a problem either. Meaning, if you really get to this place where you're okay with demanding this time, your friends have to make that choice. Is this somebody I want to have in my life? And in most cases, they will decide, I'd rather have you for 30 minutes than not at all. And you teach them that this is just who you are. But in order to be able to get to this place, you have to find some kind of acceptance. And then when you have found this acceptance, which very often just comes through practice. So you go after 30 minutes and you feel incredibly guilty. You feel like you're a bad friend. You feel like people are going to judge you and are going to think you're boring, but you're still doing it. You're not removing yourself from the situation. And this is not just about a time thing. Like sometimes when I'm around extroverts and they talk all the time, it's so much for me that for the longest time, I just didn't want to be bothered, or I secluded myself even more and waited for the situation to be over with. But this is not the best use of our energy. And this is when I say we go to the second part, which is how am I going to make sure that I'm okay in this situation? And it's not just about, stepping back, secluding, just not interfering with other people's dynamics. So if you're meeting with, let's say, 2 extroverts and they're all about talking and making conversations and so on, what is the default answer of an INFJ? I step back, I listen, it gets too much for me at some point, but what am I to do? No. The point is, when you step into that room, you're 1/3 of the equation. What you want, what you need is just as important as what they need. Meaning, you make it a point to say, let's calm it a little bit. Let's just enjoy this view. Let's talk in a way that is not all about being loud and who wins and all of that, but it's more contemplative and it's more going in an introverted way and talking about deeper topics and lowering that energy level and making it just more concrete and making it more broad and going more into the NI world. And you can demand this from people just as other people are demanding this from you. Because you're not forcing anybody to do anything. See, very often because we feel forced, we feel that if we act out in a way that is natural to us, we're forcing other people to play by our rules. But we're not. Everybody has a choice to make. Everybody decides what they're comfortable with. And you have the birthright to say, this is what I need. This is who I am. Nobody has more rights than you. Right? You're not putting yourself on top of others or expecting others to treat you in a way how you wouldn't treat them. But they cannot know what you need if you don't put up those boundaries. And this is really the second part. First off, being okay with the things we need. And then also saying, But I'm not going to say, okay, I'm not going to be in this friendship group or in this situation because if I do this, that means I have to make too many sacrifices. I have to play by their rules. I have to be around people in a way that isn't good for me. For the longest time, I was looking for friendship groups that seemed exciting, that seemed like, that's the way life is going to go, and that's everything that I'm looking for. With time, I recognize these groups don't exist. What I'm looking for is actually a group that I am a part of, which means that my wishes, my understandings of life, my understandings of like a good connection, that is part of that group. And in order to make that happen, you have to assert yourself. You have to assert maybe quietness. You have to assert space. You have to assert this is who I am. Now I step into this group and I'm going to take my share of energy within this group. I'm going to make sure that I give myself what I need and that I allow other people to give me that too. Because if you're not stating your boundaries, how can people possibly come your way? How can they possibly compromise in a way that makes you feel good? It's not possible. So from now on, don't make it this all or nothing kind of thinking. Make it a point to first off accept the fact that you need a certain kind of connection, that you don't need more than, a certain kind of energy around you, and you still need a little bit of that. And that you then say, I'm going to set boundaries. I'm going to tell people no. I'm going to make sure that I express them, that I'm not hiding it. If I want to go after 30 minutes, I go. So I'm open to that judgment. If you're not open to judgment, you cannot establish this new kind of dynamic. And then you're not going to get to a place where you feel like, oh, I'm just naturally, going through life. I'm not having this thing in my head of, oh, I get overwhelmed by people so easily. I'm not thinking that. You know why? Because I'm never in a situation where I do get overwhelmed. Because I always leave before I get overwhelmed. And I do that because I'm way more aware now of when I get overwhelmed. And, I actually go for it and I demand it. And then people can decide, do they want to play by those rules or do they not? And so since this has become my new normal, I, don't even bother about it. It's not something that comes to my mind. I'm talking about it here because it's something that I get approached with so often. And I remember being in this state and feeling this way. But now I know there's a different way. And specifically for us INFJs, we can learn this quite easily because we have such a great grasp on our subconscious. We have a grasp into personal growth, so we can make that step happen. But you have to be willing to go towards that judgment. You have to be willing to go towards those painful moments because they are going to allow you to step into the next bigger version of yourself, which is actually a way more authentic and abundant version of yourself. Remember, if you want some more guidelines to build this up, then get the free poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you say, now is my time, I'm going to take it to the next level, then get the INFJ epic life audio guide. All the information you find in the links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video, Why the INFJ Needs to Start Offending Others.